as you know, Dhruv, the next section, the rapid fire, we've got about, I think, about 9 or 10 questions to ask you. Whatever first comes to mind, you just go ahead and say it. And, that could be some food for thought for maybe to go a little bit deeper into. So, are you ready for rapid fire? Should we go ahead?
Let's go.
The first question, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Donald Trump are coming home for dinner. What's the plan?
Sushi.
I didn't say sushi.
Uh,
I just know Donald
I
Trump
would
doesn't
be.
eat sushi.
Just the thought of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Gates coming home for dinner has me dumbfounded. So many questions to ask there.
What's one mistake you believe every individual must avoid?
I don't think there's really any that you must avoid. I think, most of them you learn from. So I don't think there's any one that you really must avoid.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman. Honestly, not that much of a superhero guy, but Batman, I'd say, is someone that I really enjoyed watching all of his movies.
What is one thing that you know to be true, but very few people agree with you on this?
No matter how difficult it is, it's always best to just spit out the truth as rawly and truly as you can. And I think people know that, but often struggle with it because it's not easy to do.
Who is one Indian founder who you believe is absolutely killing it right now?
Huge fan of what Rohan is building at Epigamia.
Like what skills or traits do you think someone needs to build a successful company?
Non-negotiable is the grit and determination to just keep going when things are difficult. The hard skills you can learn, so it's going to be all the soft ones. Empathy for the team and really bring people along in the journey, attract the best talent. That's going to be another differentiator long term.
I definitely agree. I think the last one is probably the most important, right? The ability to attract good talent, right? And I think part of that is also that recognizing the areas in which you are not good, right? That those are not your areas of competence, right? And being able to hire in those specific areas. I think that is a very, very key thing, like a very, very key trait when you're building a company, right? To understand where you're lacking and to be able to attract people in those areas and being able to let them take over their responsibility and run with it. So I've got like 3 questions left. Well, let's take it from the toughest to the easiest. The toughest one would be that one thing that you would like to change about the Indian startup ecosystem.
I like to change the fact that you don't have enough entrepreneurs, from tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's changing. I see it changing. But in the Indian, I think the US ecosystem is, deep. You have entrepreneurs from, Austin, Texas and Denver, Colorado. And, it's a deep ecosystem. I think in India, it was limited just to a few cities and, entrepreneurs that come from certain backgrounds. I'd love to change that and have, entrepreneurs springing up across the country and have it be easy to raise capital across the country too.
No, I think you're right, but I do see that trend changing in the sense that I think a lot of the entrepreneurs that we see even in the Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi circuit, they're not traditionally from those cities, right? But I do believe that you're now seeing, but they had to come here because the talent was here, the innovation was here. But I think one of the booms of the pandemic, if I can call it, has been that some of the entrepreneurs have been able to go back to their home cities and they've been able to create companies and while not having to worry about attracting talent from major cities. I think that's how that evolves and how that plays out over the next couple of years is to be seen, but I completely agree with you. I think we need more from the east. We need more from central India. I think there's huge parts of the country that are not represented in startup cap tables. And I think it's very important that they contribute. Second last question, what is one lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
The ones that have hurt me the most have been decisions where, we've wanted to do things, ended up doing them and just done them later because I've second guessed myself. And so I think the lesson that I want to learn the hard way is, when I have a strong gut intuition that this is, something we want to do and an area, where we want to go, just don't second guess yourself. And the time you spend debating is probably better spent, just doing it.
Very interesting. That instead of debating over it, just go ahead and test it, right? right? And
Yeah, either dump the
see
idea
those.
or just go ahead and test it.
Dhruv, I know you read, so I'm going to ask you for 3 book recommendations as the last question.
So many that come to mind, but zero to one, Peter Thiel, definitely one that's a startup classic, for me. I think probably the book that's had the most impact on me there. I think Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. Concept of really building systems that benefit from chaos as opposed to break down when stress is put on them. And the third one would actually just not be a startup book, but I think the Bhagavad Gita just has a lot of depth to it, spiritually, and something that's helped me, be very centered. So.
It was a great conversation, Dhruv. I mean, before we must shut down for the night, can what's something you want to leave the audience with?
I think for anyone in the audience that's debating whether they want to go out, be entrepreneurs, not do it, should they not? As I said, just go out and give it your best shot, and you'll find a lot of help and support, through the journey. If you really believe in an idea, just go out there and give it a shot. Just make sure you're going to come out of it alive, and then give it your best shot. You'll probably regret not doing it otherwise.
I completely agree. I think Dhruv, you close out the night really well. I mean, if you're thinking about it, if that's something that you cannot go to sleep with, or you cannot, keep yourself concentrating on the job you're doing because you're so looking forward to being an entrepreneur. You've got an idea that must be executed. You just go ahead and test it out. Go ahead and make it happen. And hey, what's the worst that could happen, right? You might miss, and you go back to your old job, and things are going to still be fine. But the worst thing you could do is not take a shot. And so thank you so much, Dhruv. Thank you so much for the amazing insights tonight. I know there were so many facets of the story, and I tried touching upon and getting deep into every single one of them. But I think we might have to call you back for a future episode. We can go a little deeper, maybe into the Pant project. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you much. And just before we end for the night, tonight, Dhruv has been supremely, generous in giving us a code. So if you're looking for a nice pair of pants, right, just go to thepantproject.com. Use the code TPPDamani20 when you're checking out. Again, that is not case sensitive, and you get 20% off the first pair of pants that you buy from the Pant Project. And I assure you, once you bought one, you will be coming back and buying more. We will see you again next week, next Thursday, 9 p.m. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Thank you. Yes.